Okay, hello internet. My name's Joe. This is a daily vlog that I'm doing, daily-ish vlog that I'm doing for this little clothing thing that I started called the Inward Markings Garment Company. The website is inwardmarkings.com and the Instagram is at inwardmarkings. The YouTube link is on the website for easy access in the future, and you'll need to watch the first 12 chapters of this to make sense of what I talk about today in chapter 13. I'm just sitting across the road from somewhere that's significant to the primary premonitionary dream that I've mentioned in a couple of chapters previously. I discovered an aspect of that dream here, just across the road, and it was just an intuitive kind of sense that led me to walk down the street, which I really can't remember having done it previously, maybe a long time ago, but I'll talk about that more in a moment. I just want to clarify or just give further detail about the markings that I woke up with when I was in Bangkok. This was again around mid-2017 when the dreams occurred, and they remain inexplicable to me. That they weren't just like red marks just on the surface of my skin. They were actually like, they could only have been made by like a nail or a claw, because they were so like skinny and had actually like pierced the top layer of the skin so that they were reddish. There was no bleeding from what I can remember, but it was the kind of the effect that a cat scratching you would have, and a scratch that, you know, wasn't too deep, but they were quite long. Yeah, I really do need to go back and have a look at that photo, but they were probably like 6, 7 or so centimeters long, and just along the inner thigh of my left leg. And I was just bewildered. I was bewildered to the point where I not only took a photo, but I shared it on social media just to I don't know, it just felt like something that I needed to do because it was so unusual. But yeah, I'm sure there'll be people watching this who are like, oh, it was just fucking, you know, whatever, an insect, or, you know, he just happened to rub against something when he was sleeping. But these were marked markings, if you like, because I had never woken up with anything like them before, and they were so curious because they could only have been made by like an exertion of force on my skin. They weren't. The appearance indicated that it wasn't just an accident or me scratching myself while sleeping. So anyway, just to explain that further, because I can imagine that would be something that a doubt seed, if you like, for viewers, or especially for people who don't know me. Now, so yes, as I explained a couple of chapters ago, this was a really like, since the release of Taylor Swift's 1989, like I said, that just consumed me completely, to the point where it just filled my life, not just that album, but everything attached to the artist. And so this was right up until, you know, mid-2017. And I just mentioned that because I've realised now over time that it has a connection. And so prior to this particular dream, I cannot recall a dream like this in the whole time that I was in Southeast Asia. So this is how it went. It was incredibly vivid, and two women who I'd never seen before in my life, and they had no connection to anyone in my life at that time. They picked me up in a car. I cannot recall where they picked me up from, but I just recall them picking me up in a car. It was a black, like American style car from like the 50s, and not like a muscle car or or like a posh car, if you like, but just the kind of car that you might see like in a, like maybe like in The Outsiders, the film version of The Outsiders, or even The Addams Family, but without like no fins or anything like that. Just a kind of a classic like black American car. And one woman had dark hair or black hair, and the other woman had blonde light hair. And what was distinctive is that they looked like rockabilly type women, in that they had bangs that I'm sure you'll know about. And my memory has faded about this, but I'm certain that there was tattoos on either one of the women or both of the women, and they were wearing like buttoned I guess blouse t-shirt crosses with the sleeves kind of rolled up, with a thin roll up bit on their upper arms. So they've picked me up in this car, and then they've driven me to this quiet suburban street. Now, what was most distinctive about this street is that it was definitely Australian, when I recall. And I now realise that it was somewhere in the inner north of Melbourne. How do I know that? Because these things, which you may have seen, see these U-bar things? They're kind of, it's interesting that they're located here because they're not everywhere. But hopefully you'll be able to see those. I'm pretty certain that the council puts them like next to trees and stuff, in parking areas, to prevent cars from knocking into the trees. But they were distinctive in this dream when the car pulled up and parked. The two women then led me into a house. It was kind of like an old style house. Often you'll see these houses in inner city Melbourne, and Victorian style kind of houses with awnings and things like that. And it was completely quiet. And they led me into the house, and I remember I was like sitting down kind of in a dining room kind of area. And then the woman with the black dark hair led me into another room and sat me down. Like, it was kind of like an adjacent room without kind of doors between it, and sat me down in front of this enormous like framed screen. Like, it wasn't digital, but it wasn't quite a painting either. But it was just this framed like large rectangular square. And there was just swirling imagery and colours within the frame. It wasn't, I don't recall distinct like images or sequences of events. It was just this swirling, beautiful mass of like colours and kind of nondescript content. And she didn't actually speak words as such. It was just this communication between us that this is your future, and that the future is about creativity. Now, I cannot recall where the woman with the blonde bangs was at this point. I was just with the other woman and just completely like engaged with what she was saying. What was distinctive about this dream now is that there was a feeling of complete serenity. After, I should have written this stuff down. I didn't realize it would become premonitionary until like over a year later. So, but my vague recollection of after the woman sat down with me in front of the framed imagery is that I think we got back into the car, and then drove off somewhere, and then that's when I woke up. But the most important aspect of that dream is what I've relayed, and as I said, it was especially distinctive because of this just overwhelming sense of serenity, peace, and complete, like, I guess, joyousness. Maybe not joyousness, actually. It was just serenity is the word that I keep coming back to. It was just completely peaceful, without any kind of need for concern or any worry or anxiety or anything like that. I just remember this deep feeling that I had while in this entire dream. And after I woke up from that dream, I was in a daze, and I had difficulty kind of understanding what I'd just been immersed in. But again, like with the other outlandish events that I've described throughout my whole life, I just got on with my day and had to, do what you do, as we all do. And didn't really think too much about that dream until September 2018, over a year later. And the skateboarding event dream that I had, I'm fairly certain happened after that dream. But again, the significance was lost on me until much later. So yeah. So in terms of the significance of this location, across the road, and I won't show the house just for privacy reasons. But yes, like I said, I was compelled to walk down this street on one of my journeys in the inner north on foot, and was immediately struck by this black car that was in the driveway, and it looked exactly like the car in my dream. Same colour, same body shape. And what immediately struck me is that because the license plate had been removed, but the tray, if you like, was still there that the plate attaches to. The removed license plate meant that it was just the aluminium tray thing. And the way that this one is designed is that it has four, or is it three? It's either 3 or 4 like smooth vertical grooves on the surface. So I think that's possibly what the license plate somehow attaches to. And so the appearance, and I do have a photo of this, which if I had a better grasp of video editing, I'd be able to show you, or another phone. Maybe that'll come later. But the effect of these 4 vertical or 3 or 4 vertical grooves was the resemblance of 3 1 digits or 4 1 digits, so either 111 or 1111. And this was around the time, this was after numbers had become especially significant to me, and I'll explain that further later, why that transition occurred. Like I said in one of my Instagram stories, there was a rearrangement of my brain, or the neurons in my brain, that built upon the changes that I believe now occurred during my time editing and writing in Bangkok, those intensive like flow periods. And so I've seen this car with that like what essentially amounts to ones on its license plate tray, and was just so struck by this. It was like very early in the morning, but it was about 7 or so, and this probably wasn't a great move, but I knocked on the door because I just wanted to, I don't know what the fuck I wanted to do. Maybe just something about the people who own the car would resonate, but they weren't, as you would expect, they weren't interested in talking to me about the car. But when I turned around to leave the front veranda, the way that their one rubbish bin, one recycling. The way their two rubbish bins were positioned, no, it would have been 3. Yes, they had 3 bins. Don't know. Oh, one must have been recycling, one must have been for like biological stuff, and the other one for just general rubbish. But people paint numbers on the side of their bins in this area, and so as soon as I've turned around to leave the veranda, I just see 3 6s like facing me. It was it was intense because the numbers 66, like the sequence 666, was already significant to me as part of that period where numbers had become very important, and to see that after the encounter with the car and then the row of 1s, I just froze again, and I don't know if the people inside saw me, but they were just like, this guy is a fucking freak. But like, because numbers weren't painted on every side of the bin. It just so happened that the way that they had just been left, it meant that those 3 numbers were like directly in my view when I turned around. And yes, obviously the house number is 6. So yes, in chapter 14, I will talk about the significance of this dream, or maybe not. But this is the start. See ya.